There is a quiet mystery that unfolds as people grow older. You have probably seen it with your own eyes. Two people start life with similar energy, similar opportunities, similar hopes. They go to work, raise families, face hardship, enjoy victories. And then something curious happens with time. One of them seems to grow clearer. Their words sharpen. Their presence deepens. They listen better. They think more calmly. They move through the world with a steady confidence that feels earned. The other slowly fades into the background, not dramatically, not all at once, just a little less curious, a little more tired, a little quieter in spirit. The world does not push them away, they step back themselves. This is not about intelligence, it is not about money, it is not even about health alone. It is about two invisible paths that quietly diverge, often without anyone noticing until many years have passed. Today, we are going to walk those paths together. Not to judge, not to scare, but to understand. Because understanding gives you choice, and choice is one of the great privileges of a long life. This is Golden Wisdom, a place to slow down, reflect, and remember what still matters. Let me tell you a small story. There were two men who retired from the same factory in the Midwest. Same age, same job title, same number of years on the floor. On their last day, they shook hands, posed for a photo, and promised to keep in touch. The first man woke up the next morning and felt a strange quiet. No alarm, no rush, no sense of urgency. At first, it felt like freedom, but days passed, then weeks. His routines softened. He watched more television. He spoke less. He stopped reading the newspaper because it felt repetitive. Conversations began to feel tiring. He told himself he had earned rest, and he had, but rest slowly became retreat. The second man also woke up to that quiet. He noticed it too, but instead of filling it with noise, he filled it with attention. He started walking in the mornings. He read the paper more carefully than he ever had. He volunteered one afternoon a week at a local school, not to teach, just to listen. He found that young people made him think differently. He felt slower in body, yes, but sharper in mind. 10 years later, one man struggled to find words. The other spoke with clarity and calm. Same life, same starting point, two invisible paths. What separates them is not willpower, it is something more subtle. People who get sharper with age do one thing differently. They stay engaged with meaning, not just activity. Activity alone can be numbing. Filling time is easy. Meaning requires attention. It asks you to remain present, even when the world tells you that your most useful years are behind you. Those who fade quietly accept that message without realizing it. They begin to see themselves as finished chapters. They stop offering opinions. They stop asking questions. They stop being surprised. Those who sharpen resist that story. Not loudly, not aggressively. They simply refuse to disappear. There is a deep calm that comes with age, but there is also a choice. Calm can be clarity, or it can be withdrawal. Think about the people you know who feel sharp in their 70s or 80s. Notice how they speak. They do not rush. They do not interrupt. They do not try to win conversations. They are not loud, but when they speak, others listen. Their words land because they are distilled. Years have removed the unnecessary parts. That doesn't happen by accident. They stay mentally alive by continuing to care about ideas, about people, about the future, even if the future is no longer theirs to fully inhabit. Curiosity is the muscle that keeps the mind upright. Many people believe curiosity belongs to youth, that it fades naturally with age. This is not true. What fades is permission. Somewhere along the way, older adults are quietly told that curiosity is no longer required of them, that they should settle into what they already know. But the mind does not stay sharp by repeating old conclusions, it sharpens by revisiting them. People who grow clearer with age allow themselves to change their minds, slowly, carefully, without embarrassment. They are not attached to being right, they are attached to understanding. Those who fade cling to certainty. They repeat the same stories. They resist new information. They begin to confuse familiarity with truth. There is comfort in certainty, but there is vitality in openness. Another difference between these two paths is how people relate to effort. Those who fade see effort as something to escape once they've worked long enough. They tell themselves they've earned the right to disengage. Again, this is understandable. Work is tiring. Life can be heavy. But effort does not only belong to labor. There is effort in listening carefully, effort in staying socially connected, effort in reflecting on one's own behavior. People who sharpen with age choose effort that feeds them rather than effort that drains them. They no longer chase status or approval, but they do invest energy into growth, however modest. They write letters, they keep journals, they practice patience. They forgive more easily because they understand how little time is left for resentment. This kind of effort strengthens the inner life, and the inner life is where sharpness lives. There is also a profound difference in how people handle silence. Silence frightens some people as they age. It reminds them of loss, of friends gone, of roles ended. To avoid it, they fill their days with noise. Others make peace with silence. They learn to sit with it, to let thoughts arrive and pass without panic. They discover that silence sharpens perception. It makes the mind less cluttered. This is why many older people who are mentally strong enjoy simple routines: morning light, a cup of tea, a familiar walk. These are not signs of shrinking lives. They are signs of tuned attention. The quieter the world becomes, the more clearly they hear themselves. Now let's talk about memory, because memory is often misunderstood. People fear forgetting names, dates, or small details. They take these as signs of decline. But sharpness is not about perfect recall. It's about pattern recognition. Those who sharpen with age remember what matters. They see connections others miss. They understand people quickly because they have seen human behavior repeat itself in 1,000 forms. Those who fade focus on what they are losing rather than what they are gaining. Anxiety tightens the mind. Fear accelerates decline. Calm attention preserves clarity far better than constant correction. Another invisible fork in the road is how people interpret their own value. Some people begin to see themselves as burdens once they stop producing. This belief eats away at the spirit. When you feel unnecessary, you behave cautiously. You speak less. You withdraw to avoid taking up space. Others redefine value. They see themselves as carriers of perspective. They know their worth lies in context, not speed, in wisdom, not novelty. These people mentor without preaching. They advise without controlling. They understand that influence does not require authority. This sense of purpose keeps the mind alive. One of the saddest myths of aging is that relevance expires. It does not. It simply changes form. Those who fade quietly measure themselves by old standards they can no longer meet. Those who sharpen create new standards that fit who they are now. There is also the matter of emotional honesty. Sharp elders are emotionally literate. They name their feelings without dramatizing them. They do not deny sadness, but they do not live inside it either. Those who fade often suppress emotion. They believe showing feeling is weakness. Over time, this emotional stiffness spreads to thinking. Flexibility disappears. The mind and heart age together. People who stay sharp allow themselves to grieve, to laugh, to miss, to hope. They stay human. There is something else worth mentioning, and it's not discussed enough. People who sharpen with age tend to simplify their lives, not because they have given up, but because they have refined. They remove unnecessary commitments. They choose relationships carefully. They stop explaining themselves to people who are not listening. This simplification frees mental energy. It clears space for thought. A sharp mind needs room. As you listen to this, you may find yourself recognizing pieces of both paths. That's normal. Life is not a single decision. It's a series of small turns. The good news is that sharpening is not reserved for a special few. It's a direction, not a talent. You do not need to